I am bringing you a really simple layout that absolutely anyone could do. I'm using the Uniquely Creative Serendipity collection, and that and some my trimmer, and that's pretty much it. There's no mixed media on today's page at all. And yeah, so what I'm doing here, when I've got this collection, I if I buy more than just a couple of pieces out of a collection, I sit and I look at different pages and try and think back to photos that I think would go well with different pages, which is, I mean, we all do it, but I guess when you're a content creator, you sort of find yourself doing it a little bit in more of a structured way. So when I saw these papers, I knew that I didn't know whether I wanted to fussy cut them or whether, like, I kind of wasn't too sure. And this morning I got up and I did a few things and I, cleaned the house, all the stuff that mums do. And I thought, you know what I want? And it hit me. I thought, I know what I want to do today. There, I've got a few photos of my husband and I when we went on a lunch date together. And it was just a random day. Just we went out and took some photos. And I thought, I know what I'm going to do. As everyone's aware, I've been obsessed with borders lately. And I thought, the Serendipity collection, that's what I'm going to do with that piece of paper. I'm going to, and believe me, I have got so much paper and cardstock, it's not even funny. I mean, I literally, when I go to sit down and do a page, a layout, a double page layout, any of that, I literally open my cupboard door and it's like going shopping. I literally say, I'm going shopping. My daughter laughs at me, but it's true. And I literally felt this morning, I thought, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a border. So I knew I was going to gut the paper and then fussy cut around the florals. And I because I wanted to use all of them, but I find what I have found, there you go. See, look, magic of television, it's all cut out. There was a few more bits there that I thought, I could take a bit more off there and a bit more off there. So then I'd already trimmed my floral down, what I had just cut out. I think I'd already cut that down. And this is where I'm making my mind up. Do I want to go horizontal or do I want to go vertical? And I decided I wanted to go horizontal. So both those pieces of paper are in the Serendipity paper collection. And there's my 3 photos. So it made it really easy because I didn't have to print the photos in black and white because my husband and I were both wearing black shirts. So I live in black. Anyone that knows me knows I live in black. So then I decided, okay, the way I'm really liking at the moment, I'm getting used to putting photos on a page that aren't perfectly straight. And I'm actually really, really liking how it looks. So I had the border, had my 3 photos. I had to separate them so I could have a little play and figure out exactly how I was going to position them. I wasn't too sure. I sort of was playing with, my eye tends to like a diagonal, but then I was looking at that and I thought, you know what? And I had just run that other piece of paper through my embossing machine. So it's an embossing folder. It is from Couture Creations and it's called Confetti. So whether it's still available, I have no idea. I bought it secondhand. So I ran that darker piece of paper. I put that through because I needed to create, I know this sounds a little crazy, but I needed to create some texture on the page because something I've learnt with my little scrappy journey is something that I'm really liking at the moment is texture. Now, what I was thinking of doing, what I ended up doing was, and I'm look at me. Can you hear my cogs ticking over? You're probably all yelling at the TV going, or at the computer or your iPhone or whatever you're watching this on. You're probably thinking to yourself, Karen, just put it down. Just put it down. So this is when I started just putting things down and sort of, for the want of a better word, auditioning where I think they're going to go. So I didn't want to make that just a straight line because the photos aren't straight. So I didn't want I suppose you would, I guess you could call it a photo mat that I'm creating behind it. And, oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. I just yawned. Jeez, it's only 4 o'clock. You'd think it. Although I have been up since 4 o'clock in the morning, so makes sense. Haven't even been to work yet. Jeez. So basically, so this is my Spellbinders Platinum 6. This is my embossing folder, and I pop it through. Now, this is where I still haven't bought the magnetic one yet. The other photo mat, mounting mat. What do you call it? Plate. Good Lord. Now I can't even think of words. What is going on? All right. So it's at this point, after I've cut them a little bit, I realized what it was that I didn't like. I didn't like I love all the texture. That's fantastic. But it needed to be broken up with the lighter color. Having just that block of color going all the way across, you kind of lost the texture. And it wasn't until I flipped one over and I thought, hang on, that's a bit better. Because our shirts are so dark, I didn't want it to sort of all fall into the middle. So then I decided I was going to create some more texture. Wasn't sure I was going to do this because I do distress the edges of things quite regularly. Usually I do it when I know that the edges are not going to be cut perfectly. But I ended up doing it on this and it looks magic. I love it. It turned out so good. I'm really, really happy with it. Now, I know you saw me start off there with my distressing tool, and then I switched over to these little tiny black scissors that I have. And they seem to work a little bit better when the paper that I'm using is a lower GSM. Don't get me wrong, the Uniquely Creative paper collections, they are fantastic. But because I've already put this through an embossing process and I actually ran it through twice, that process affects the what do you call it? It's kind of like I want to say it's like paper degradation. I can't think of the right word, but it weakens the paper, and I didn't want to take the chance of ripping it because I wanted distressing but not ripping. Sometimes I do it, and if I'm running around the edge of my papers, I'll do it so quick and not even thinking, knowing that's what I want to do, just get in, just do it. And I tear the paper, but I knew with this collection and with this page, I didn't want that look. I wanted it to have that whimsy, romantic feeling to it because, my husband and I are not all gushy, but we, obviously we love each other very, very much, it's fantastic, but I wanted it to scream romance without it being all hearts and kisses and, like Valentine's Day. That's what I mean when I say we're not like that. I'm one that, give you a little bit of an insight to my brain. I would prefer that my husband, instead of buying flowers or chocolates or anything like that, that is not me at all. Or jewelry, that sort of thing, that's not me. I would prefer that deep down, I would prefer obviously craft things, but I would rather that we spend the money on a night out with our kids. That's just the type of person that I am. I don't I don't want things for myself, so to speak, like that. That's just how I am. So I go through. Now, you can see me cutting these. When you're doing this, I know I've got some new scrapbookers that are new to scrapbooking and they're just learning. Now, so when I say these things, I don't mean it in a condescending way like somebody doesn't understand. The reason I'm explaining it this way is because I do have some new subscribers and they're new to scrapbooking. Now, the reason I've cut them is because the photos are going through the center. So it's basically extending my paper. So I'm using less of my full sheet of paper, but I'm getting the same effect. It's just bang for buck. You'll hear me talk about it all the time. I am a stickler for bang for buck, as if what I just said before doesn't confirm that. I love being able to stretch my supplies. Sometimes if I buy one piece or two or three pieces of a particular paper collection, which I did not long ago actually. It was what did I buy? I think I bought a few pieces of the Paige Evans, the latest one. What's that? Spellbinders, I think that's what it's called. And I bought a few sheets of that. I didn't buy the whole collection because I get bored with scrapping with the same things all the time. Like, I don't want to be doing, I will do a really bright, messy, mixed media page. Then I'll do a page like this. Sorry. Ooh. Oh my God, that is 2 yawns. If I go for a third, seriously, this is ridiculous. And I'm drinking coffee. Boy, oh boy. It is, to explain, it is an overcast, freezing cold day here in Queensland. Here in sunny Queensland, Australia, it is freezing cold. I have socks, I have slippers, I have warm clothes on. I've even got a heat pack, and one of my little tricks when I'm in my craft room, I heat up my heat pack that I have and I tuck it down behind me in my chair and it keeps my back warm. I've even done that today. It's that cold. And I love the cold weather. Anyone that knows me, why I live in Queensland is beyond me because, it's beautiful. It is a beautiful state and I would never leave it, but I will be truthful though. I did go on a holiday with my brother years ago and we travelled down to South Australia and the Barossa. Oh, Barossa Valley, South Australia. The food was, to this day, still, it's up there with some of the best food I've ever eaten in my life. The wine was amazing. And I remember going to a place, what was it called? Wolf Blass. That's what it was. And we were trying wines and liqueurs and stuff. And, oh my goodness, there was this wine. You could only get it from there. And this wine and this liqueur. And when you combined them, whoa. Okay, you'd be blotto in 5 seconds flat. But, wow, it was beautiful. I think it was Cockatoo Ridge. It was, amazing. If I lived anywhere else, that's where I'd probably live. South Australia, in the Barossa. But I live here with my family and my extended family are all around me. My brothers all live in the same town. And yeah, I love my happy little family and my happy little life with my happy little house. So now I'm just going around and adding, while I waffled through all that, I am just going around with my Uniball Signo Broad white pen, and I'm just adding a little bit of highlight here and there. I love these flowers, but in to my taste, I just like adding a little bit of bright white into the center of them just to, I don't know, it just brightens them up a little bit. I like them. I love the peonies. They're beautiful. I just add a little bit of white in there. And I'm just going around the Mr. and Mrs. that I put on there. And I do my journaling later for my new subscribers that don't know why there's no journaling on the page. And I didn't actually put a title on this page. I used a couple of the little cut aparts that came with the collection. It was a cut apart sheet, and I just used those as, effectively, it's a title, I suppose. They're just little tiny ones, nothing bold, because I wanted that border to be the main focus, and my husband and I are in the center. So I think this was about our 11th or 12th wedding anniversary. So yeah. So now I get to do the really boring, horrible bit that I hate doing. If you haven't subscribed, I would love to have you as a subscriber. I try and bring you content on the daily, and if you don't mind, I would love you to smash that like button. That is helping me get my channel out there so other people can learn from my creativity and my mistakes. Don't you worry, I have those too. And as much as I don't want to post them, I do, because we all have to learn. And I'd rather you learn from my mistake and then you save your paper. So there you go, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and I will chat to you again soon. Thanks very much. Bye for now.